everyone, and this is part 3 of a 3-part video series, and we are going to talk to you about the changes that they've done for the 2022 model year.
Yeah, not just some of the changes that you saw out in the plant in the last video, but a lot of these are going to be some, well, I wouldn't even really consider them cosmetic. Some of them a little bit, but we're going to go over with Sam on the inside of this Montana that we're about ready to go into and actually show you and talk about the changes they've made to the insides. And again, I mean, we've said this several times, a lot of this is customer input. But one thing that I do want to mention before we go in there, the big thing for 2022 for Keystone is solar, and we haven't mentioned that yet. We did a whole thing with solar in the innovation department, and I don't know, we'll try to get a video together for that, but there's a lot of information there. Regardless of what Keystone product you buy from here forward, everything's coming equipped with solar. They're going to start out with a 200 watt is the basic package.
And you can upgrade from there.
You can go from there.
Several packages you can upgrade to.
You can, and a lot of them are expandable.
Just depends on how you're going to use your unit.
Exactly. So that's a huge thing, and we can get into that a little bit more later. But just know from here forward, if you buy a 2022 model year or newer, you're getting solar. It's coming with it. And we had to equip that on ours, even though Montana made it extremely easy and kind of a plug-and-play system. They've taken it like 3 steps further now. So you're getting solar. So let's go in with Sam and let's talk about some of these improvements to the 2022 model year.
I think you're going to like what you see.
Yep. So the 200 standard this year, probably one of the most robust packages is what we call the 400i. 400's how much solar's on the roof. You got another 200 watt panel. I means you're always going to have an inverter with that package. But that reason I say it's so robust is besides having the one port with 400, you have an entire second installed port on your roof that you can fully expand. We've pulled the wires down into a compartment labeled solar prep, so you can put a full another controller on that. We've put a loop in if you want to put the air conditioner on. So you've got all of that, and if you buy one with a gas electric, you know, you already have the inverter, so it's there. So if you really want to go crazy, it's so expandable without you having to pull wires. It's all there. And the other thing is the partnership with Victron. All of that's top of the line. You see that right. If you follow Victron anywhere on Instagram, they're $1 million yachts. It's all Bluetooth. They have so much technology. When you go to the 400i, you get the smart shunt. And the smart shunt answers 90% of the customer's questions, because when you put that on your app, you can see how much longer can I run, what am I putting in, what am I taking out. So this is a 3231 with a residential refrigerator for 2022. It would still be called a 3231 if you went the gas, electric, nor cold. So that is really the only thing that changes in this. This is in what we call cottage white, which is the mix of the cottage white cabinets and the modern maple, which is the gray. So if you were to get this with just bourbon or cobblestone, anywhere you see white cabinets would become gray cabinets.
Okay.
But again, we introduced this floor plan last year. It's been a great hit. We found that we had that 35-foot fifth wheel that you guys own, and then we jumped all the way to 40.
Right.
We had nothing in between, and this really has hit a home run for us, and we do really well with it. Some of the 2022 changes, just glancing over them. We'll talk a little bit about this in the bedroom where I can reach it, but this has your Blade Pure system. You'll notice here, and we'll talk about it up in the bedroom, only AC system in the industry that has a residential MERV 9 filter.
Okay. That's
a 12 by 12 filter. We've asked you guys to have these little cheese filters that have nothing to do with being true filtration, washing them out in your sink. This is a true 12 by 12 MERV 9 residential filter, and I'll show you. You just pop 2 screws, and you can change it as many times you want.
Is this something you can go to Menards or Lowe's and pick it up?
Menards, it's nothing unique to it. Amazon, to your front door. It's a residential filter used every day out in the world.
That's another good thing.
Yep. So
another good change.
Yeah, the big question we'll talk about up in the bedroom is what does that change? Some of the other things that we changed this year, the entertainment center, we went full JBL. So
okay.
JBL, well-known brand, and it's top of the line. So in here, we've gotten rid of the glass door that customers said they didn't like. We've got a Jbl Stereo System that's got what they call the MyZone system. Now what that allows you to do as a consumer is you can use multiple sources at different speakers. So for example, this year, one thing I did, and I'll tie it together with this, was people said they never use their bedroom speakers. So I said, what about a bathroom speaker? And they said, well, that would make sense if I want to listen to a podcast or a little bit of music while I'm taking my shower,
Sure.
doing my hair, doing whatever. I would use that more than I would bedroom speakers. What this system allows you to do is, say somebody's out here watching TV or watching a movie, you want to utilize that speaker. You can either listen to what they're listening to, or you can use the MyZone control. You come out and hold the button, or someone holds it for you. Whoever wants to do whatever they want in the bathroom can have a different source. So I can be watching the Packers game here. Somebody wants to go in the bathroom, take an evening shower. They can take their phone and they can stream their music on that speaker through the entire system.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
In conjunction with that, what really makes this residential is that you'll always find on every one of the systems, we install a 12-volt subwoofer. So it now sounds like a residential system.
Yeah, our 2020, they have the, what's the name of that?
Probably a
Jonesin TV. And we usually run it through the sound system because the TV itself is terrible as far as the sound system. So I'm glad to see that they've made some upgrades there. And that, too.
Put shelves back there.
But that's nice.
This subwoofer has a gain control. It's kind of hidden over here, so you can jack it up and make it thump, or you can make it nice and quiet if you want to.
Okay.
So
and that's an inverted outlet that the TV's plugged into.
Yep.
So whether you're on shore power or not, you still have a TV. So you stop at a rest stop for a couple hours because you got to get off the road. Well, I guess you can watch a game.
Absolutely. And every one of our inverted outlets have an inverted outlet sticker on it. So depending on floor plan, you'll have anywhere from 5 to 7 inverted outlets through the unit.
Now, is that dictated by which solar package, or did you get that even with the entry-level solar package?
You get that with the 200, the 400, and obviously if you jump all the way to the 1200, the entire coach is inverted.
Wow.
But that's a whole nother subject and a whole nother day, right?
Sure. Yeah, like I said, we've got a whole day of solar tomorrow, so hopefully we'll make another whole video out of that.
So we got rid of the glass door based on customer input. We're giving you a better stereo system. And then you brought up about the TV. One thing we've seen all the time is, I can't get my TV to play. How did you get your TV to play through it? So it's overkill, but I have every possibility of cord installed on this TV. So I'm running fiber optic to the radio. I'm running RCA, and I'm running HDMI, RVC. So at any point in time, if it's over the air, as long as the dealer or you don't unplug them, over the air, you put a Blu-ray in the front of this, you put a Blu-ray into the back of this, it will always go through the stereo system.
These will now play Blu-ray discs.
Yes, because what I have is you have no disc player on this.
Okay.
So that was one of the things to go up to the JBL system. We had a lot of people say, the first thing that radio manufacturers do is they downgrade the actual chassis of the DVD player. That's where they can save money.
Okay.
I had 50% of my Montana people that wanted Blu-rays, 50% of my people that didn't care. So I just went back and said, I'm going to invest in a great stereo system. If you want Blu-ray, you put it right here on the shelf.
Okay, so you can install that
separately. You run the wire
separately.
up through, and then you do that.
Okay.
So the big thing, though, was the use. Again, concentrating on, hey, I want to have the cords plugged in so it doesn't matter if you're pulling the Packers game over the air or through your satellite, it's going to play through the system.
Okay, so just to confirm, all of those sources are pre-installed. They're plugged in.
Yep. So all of them, as long as nobody messes with the wires, which can happen in a dealership, you should have no problem playing any of your sources through this stereo system and TV.
That sounds like a nice improvement over the 2020 that we own.
Couple things based on some input on the kitchen was we used to have a wine rack up here.
Yep.
Okay. So everybody said it doesn't work. I want a door. I want some storage up there. So what I did was I did twofold. I tried to give you an application of using something if you wanted to use it. So this is a spice rack. So if you want to put your spices up here, you can use it. I've already had customers say, I can't even reach it. I'm not tall enough. And I'd love to use that for storage. This was developed to just, you put it in, you put a little upward pressure on this corner, the actual spice rack can come completely out.
Very nice.
You can throw this in the trash. You can use it here, and then you can say, well, that's just storage now, and that's what I wanted.
You know, we talked about that when we first saw that. I said, would we use that for spices if we got a new rig? And I said, well, I guess we could always take it out, but I guess you already answered that question. Already taken care of that.
So it catches. You just have to lift this. You can see the grooves in the actual bar.
Very nice.
Other thing we had a lot of comments about was trash container. We used to have a trash container just pulled out. People would push down the trash. It would break or come down. So we've used a Revishelf brand, residential, pulls out the trash container. It's all metal glides, easy to clean if something is to slop. And it's the exact Revishelf brand you would use in a home.
Well, you know what? If you're buying a residential RV, I suppose you might as well put residential features in it.
Absolutely.
One thing before we move any further, I've noticed that's different from our 2020, and maybe it changed in 2021, was there's no longer a lip here on this side in this slide out. Did that go away last year or is that this year?
Towards the end of last model year, we took all of our kitchen slides to flush floor.
Okay.
We utilize that same woven carpet, so if you do splash and you're cooking, it's going to be stain resistant and indestructible. And again, we're not using that flapped linoleum, which when it comes into abrupt stops, it's going to crack and break.
Right. Nice. That was a good change.
Yeah, sitting here, I noticed that straight away. I was like,
I'm starting to get worried. We're going to be getting the new rig sooner than I thought I was going to.
And you guys identified a couple unique parts to this floor plan. Was, you know, it actually has the storage, the pop-up farmhouse type there, and this is unique to this floor plan where you pull out bank of drawers, which gives you a whole nother level of countertop and not losing your drawers.
And that's nice because you're not really going to have that space or that countertop out in that space all the time if you don't want it. That's nice.
it looks crooked now. That
This-
drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's probably not done. Like, this is the first unit to be worked off in the morning. So, couple other things. This does actually show our third AC option. All of our Montanas have a third AC option, or it's also prepped. If you are going to add a third AC, this is very important. Make sure your dealer is installing a Coleman Mach Power Saver air conditioner.
Okay.
We've installed 2 of those. If you install a third, they pull less than 11 amps. You can run all 3 of your air conditioners on 50 amp service without shedding it, or what people call selection.
Sure.
If somebody just puts up a conventional, then you lose that advantage. So, but let's go up into the bathroom and show you some of the changes.
Yeah, let's just check out all the changes.
Let's see.
And let's take a look real here.
Yep.
Okay, so this does not have the in-command system.
Correct.
Which is not for everybody, including us. I'm not saying it's a bad system.
Mm-hmm.
I just like simple. Come in, turn a switch, and be done, and not have to go through a computer screen or like a tablet. So,
right. Residential refrigerator. So you have your remote inverter start switch up here. So that's you can turn your actual inverter on or off from here.
From there, nice.
This is basically your lights on your island. Some people like to have one switch separate, isolated. It's the first thing they throw when they come in. This is your pendant lights.
Sure, yeah.
And you have your 12-volt fan. We don't use a residential 110. If somebody wants to boondock, we want them to be able to run the ceiling fan.
That's one thing, we have that in our 2020, and we kind of appreciate that we can run that whenever we want.
And then you have all of your other switches pretty well labeled, gas and electric on your water heater. One thing that we did change this year was all of your hydraulic slides. Normally, you'd have one button, and then you had valves out on the outside that you had to turn and select.
Yep.
We've separated those. Internal now, you have an individual switch for every slide.
Awesome.
Nice.
So they're actually down here. I'm sorry I was pointing to the awnings, but you have that individually, and we didn't have that previously.
Right. I kind of like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, I just did a video on the hydraulic system, and I had to point that out to people because I've seen questions. How do you move just one slide at a time? And of course, you got to go outside to do that.
Yeah.
So this is a huge change. These sinks.
So in the bathroom, we've decided we went with vessel sinks. Now, the school's out on vessel sinks. Some people like it, and some people, have given me some input. The advantage to the vessel sink is that I've not taken storage away by putting that same size sink sunken down into here. If you can imagine, if they put that down in there, this much of your countertop that you may be able to lay your curling iron, your makeup, or something into would be gone.
Right.
And the other thing is I've always had people say they want a sink that'll hold water, that they don't have to bend over so far if they decide they want to wash their face. That's what this applies to too. By putting these above the actual countertop line, I've been able to add in a completely additional drawer.
Nice.
So this bathroom, besides that change to the sinks, all bathrooms will be cottage white. The bathrooms were never white before. We've went into the actual, in this specific model, we had medicine cabinets that came out. People didn't like that. We've recessed the mirrors back. You just have this cabinet now. And we went in the shower. Everything's onto black handles. We went to black rail. We went to clear glass. And again, we went to an accent panel behind the actual mirrors here. But again, just a lot of decor things that we've done. But again, trying to listen to the customers.
Oh, then there's even more storage.
Yeah. This is one of our most popular bathrooms. Again, when the guy says I'm ready to pull a little bit longer, this is the benefit of pulling longer.
Right.
Bigger bathroom.
You're gaining some.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can see for somebody who's going to be full-time or even part-time, where eventually a smaller bathroom like ours would get tight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right now I don't, with the way we're traveling, it doesn't seem that big of a deal, but I think if we're going to spend more time in ours, this is something we probably would consider. I have to admit, the vessel sinks is probably something for me personally. It's going to have to grow on me, but I've realized years ago in the RV industry, if you gain something on one end, you lose it on the other. So, I mean, it's a give and take. So here you got a different style sink that you're not necessarily used to, but you gain a lot of storage. So I can see why you did that.
I think a lot of the perception on sinks is it means it's going to break, it's going to come unhooked. You are not going to.
No.
I mean, it's installed with residential hardware. So
nice.
In the bedroom. Let's talk about in the bedroom.
I said I was going to reserve my opinion about that until I saw it, and I like it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's not the first time you've changed your mind.
Here's a little thing. We've kind of changed it mid last year. Was before the light switch for this bedroom was always all the way in here in the wall.
Yep.
We now moved the light switch to right here.
And
now the downfall is if you're in bed and want to shut them off,
right,
you got to come all the way to here to shut them off.
But you know, if the slide out, the way we travel, a lot of times we'll stop for the night. We won't run the slide out. We just crawl in bed, and that switch is hard to get to behind that slide out when it's in. So that was a good move.
Yep. So again, customer feedback is where we got it.
Yep.
And so in this, we actually changed this quite a bit. So in the bed, we got rid of the actual puck lights. We now went to a 2-function light. We have backlit, and then we actually have a reading light, so you can have that adjustable, which a lot of customers didn't like just the puck lights. There was no adjustability to it. Then for nightstands, CPAPs, or just more functional. Even though you would never find this in your house, we added the shelves up here, put a full lip on so nothing's going to fall off and hit you in the head, giving you full USB power and 110, whatever you want to put up here.
On both sides.
On both sides.
That's nice.
What that's also done is we no longer have our nightstands down here. So when we had nightstands down here, not only did they only have a little bit of space, but say you wanted to upgrade to a full 7-inch or 8-inch mattress thickness, they were trying to jam it underneath those, and it just wouldn't work.
Right.
Plus the knuckle busters when you were trying to make a bed. Now you have plenty of room to get in there to make a bed. So
it's nice to come in and hear why you made the changes. You know, instead of just saying, wonder why they made that.
So this literally just changed today when you guys were here, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. So
okay.
Due to supplies, as we know, the world's hurting and stuff like this, we weren't able to start this at model year, but it started now. This is what I call my flip mattress. So you'll actually, if you touch it, you'll feel it. But if you look at this mattress actually has, it looks like it's two-tone. But when you touch one side, it's very soft, and one side it's very firm. So like right now, if you were to push on the blue, it's going to be very soft. The white's going to be very firm. If you want a soft mattress, you flip it over, and it feels completely different with the memory foam. Wow. If you like firm, you leave it the way it is, and it actually feels completely different. And it stays that way. It's not like a one weekend feeling. So it's 2 mattresses in one. Some of my earlier lives in the RV industry, because of my age, there was a concept out like this, and it got rave reviews. I don't know why it ever went away. But again, we do know that still there's a high percentage of people are going to want their favorite mattress in here. We can't do that for everybody. Right. So the other thing I wanted to show you right here, because we couldn't show it to you down below, was the benefit of this new Blade Pure.
Look at that. Yeah.
So this is your 12x12 residential filter. That it's a MERV 9 filter. You can buy it anywhere, and it's the first ever true residential filtered system. Now, we're going to have a lot of Montana owners that are going to panic and say, where did my Whisper Quiet system go?
Right.
And the reason we used Whisper Quiet was to compensate for loud air conditioners. Well, we don't have to do that any longer. Coleman actually developed, this is called the Q series air conditioner. This air conditioner by itself is quieter than Whisper. So no longer do we have to mask a loud air conditioner, which is what has allowed us to do this. And you end up with actually a complete quieter system, residential air filter. You get our convection blade type returns. That gives you all the benefits we talked about. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. It gives you huge improvements on cold air, and it's quiet. It's the units, and we just started this, and the units, the customers are using it. The comments we're getting is unbelievable. So this is a little bit about the blade. Again, I encourage anybody that's got questions about this to watch the video from the development. This took years to develop. The convection is now, if you look, this is very much like some of the things you see in like a business office that needs to spread the air out. This little, what I call the sugar scoop on the top, you would think that you would want, for example, you would want, if the air is coming this way, you'd want this scoop to grab the air and bring it down. It's the opposite. You actually want to put the names on this right there towards the air conditioner, because what you're looking for is the turbulence to make the air dive down and out and get out of there. So if you have this up in there, you can actually change the volume by actually spinning it when it's snapped into place.
Okay.
It will control some of the volume, but you'll always get that fog type cooling that I talked about versus directional. It'll always feel even whenever it comes out. So we're super excited about this. Again, we'd love to bring it to the market previously, but it took us well over a year to develop all of it and make it right. So.
Question.
Yes.
That piece you just snap back in there,
Yes.
will that fit in ours?
So I had a gentleman unnamed that actually was on the Montana owners group. He volunteered to try it in his current unit. If you go back to the video that I showed you, which had the barb rim, you don't have the correct duct work for that rim to snap in and get that benefit.
Okay.
So he had to take a Dremel and trim that off, and then he put these rings up in and then put these in, and it did help his system. He says it did, but that he did have to make that modification.
Okay.
Because again, when he tried and he didn't have that second lip cut off, it just kept trying to push on his foam.
Gotcha.
You know, and that's kind of the difference. But yeah, I mean, we have. I suspect we'll have a lot of people that will be asking for, and if they can buy those through their dealers.
Imagine you could probably get a HEPA filter for that size as well.
You could. The big thing was on the MERV 9 side of it was they kept using different filters to make sure you don't restrict the air.
Okay, I'm glad I asked the question then.
You can have enough pull through to make sure you're not starving it anyway.
Okay.
And we get a lot of questions now. This filter, you'll notice it's got wires kind of look to it. It's best to have that down, but the way that it's constructed in the fabric, it doesn't matter if it's down or if it's up.
Okay.
That's why there's no arrows on the end or direction. But.
So one other thing we didn't mention when we were out here was they changed the table this year, right?
Yep.
Oh, so, let's go look at that.
Let's go look at that.
Are we done with all the changes up here then?
Yeah. Yeah, so what we changed on the table was we were taking up a little bit of shoulder room and chair room. This was much further out to be able to just have that pop-up type concept here, which did have some failure rates. It get stuck, wouldn't come up, wouldn't come down.
Right.
So I made the decision I'm going to give more dinette chair room and make this just rigid. That was the other thing. We had a lot of failures to get to be able to use that 4 inches of table that was in here. You got the plunger,
right.
You pull it out, and that also made this flimsy.
Yep.
So we got rid of that because it's no longer hidden back there. So no longer does it pull out, but you still have the full hardwood extension if you want to use it. It's not mechanical. That way you don't have a bunch of finger pinchers. And we also lowered it approximately 1.5 inches. Had a lot of people with comments that it was too high.
So obviously the big thing is the solar.
Yeah, the big thing is the solar, but what I want to know is, what'd you guys think? It's cool.
I like the outside color better this year than I had in the last years.
Oh yeah, I do like the outside colors, and you know, in the 2021s, I gotta be honest, I was not real impressed. That was just my personal opinion with the blacks and the blues, and I think a lot of it was biased on my part because
he's not a blue person. So
well, it's not so much blue, but our 2020 is more of the brown and the tan. And it matches our truck, and it just kind of looks like.
And the brown and the tan shows your age because that's what's popular in our age group. But everything's beige.
Well, I will say this: After seeing the new color schemes on the outside of them this year, I'm over the whole thing matching my truck. I could care less. So,
he's lying.
now I think it would look fine behind my truck. It's fine. But kind of like to hear what you guys think. Leave comments below what you think of all the changes. You know, I don't know, what are some of your takeaways? Like them getting rid of the wine rack above the microwave. I'll be honest, when we were looking at the Montanas in 2020, we thought it was a cool thing.
We thought we'd use it.
Did.
Unfortunately, we don't use it as much as we probably would like to because we travel a lot. So
yeah, taking them out.
I don't feel comfortable leaving
putting them
wine
back in.
bottles
So
up there. Yeah. Usually they're in the fridge. So
right. But replacing that wine rack with that spice rack, and the way they did it and the way Sam had that design, so if you don't want to use it for spices, you just pop the thing out. You can throw it away if you want, or you can use that tray for something else. So I did see that, you know, some people with like the 2020s like ours that took their wine racks out, they would put like foil and plastic bags or everybody had a little bit different idea. So now Keystone has just left it up to your imagination. If you want to use it for spices, fine. If not, take it out and use it for whatever you want to use it for. So there's just, again, I keep saying this, more customer input. Oh, and one more thing that I did want to touch on this again and kind of reiterate what Sam said about the model number changes. For instance, in our 2020 model, we have a 3120, which meant it had a RV gas electric refrigerator, and the 3121s had residential refrigerators. Now everything, like for instance our floor plan, everything is a 3121. You can still get the RV refrigerator, you just have to option that in. So it's going to be one model number for all floor plans from now on.
And I think that'll be confusing for people in the beginning, but eventually everyone will catch on, and it's, you know, the way all the other people do it anyways, all the other manufacturers. So
yeah, it should be a simple process.
Fine eventually.
Right. So if you're looking for a 2022 3120 and you don't find it, don't panic. It's a 3121. It's the same floor plan. You just have to option in the RV refrigerator. So the other big thing was the bathrooms, that vessel sink.
I saw that vessel sink on a video before we went to see it in person, and I am not a huge fan of vessel sinks, but I said that I would reserve my opinion until I saw it in person. And I probably wouldn't choose one for my home, but for the camper, I thought that was a good option.
It definitely gives you more storage options below the sink, so I think that was one of the main reasons Sam went that route.
And more counter space.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's bigger, so you can actually like get in there and wash your face or whatever.
That is one complaint that I did see a lot on social media.
About it.
From the sink that we have, the smaller stainless steel sink, I did see a lot. Yeah, I've seen that from a lot of people. So that was another reason for a change like that, just to give some.
And a lot of people have switched out the faucet too, and
right.
So this one I think is going to be more appealing to a lot of people.
Yep. So that was a good one. You know, and from the person who does the maintenance on our RV, that MERV air filter is huge for me. I think that's great. Is there a new RV in our future? We'll see. I don't know.
Probably.
So we'll see. There's a couple floor plans that we like other than the 3121, so we'll see what happens. You know, the Tampa show is coming up here in this winter, and we'll be there. So, let us know, guys, what you think in the comments below about some of these changes. Are they good changes? Are they changes that you're sorry that they made? Again, those comments don't go unheard. We're Keystones.
One of them was the table.
Yeah,
They changed the way how the table slides in and out. You don't have to slide it in and out anymore. And the height is different.
They dropped it down a little bit.
Because a lot of people I have read that complain that they think it's too tall. And it is. I mean, look, we're sitting here and it's, But they're listening. They're trying to make improvements, and I think that's a plus.
Right. The other thing that was kind of cool was the new stereo system. And what Sam said about that, he's absolutely right. And if you guys watched our review, our one-year review of our 2020 model, that was one of my biggest complaints was the DVD player kind of has a mind of its own. And it's not that big of a deal to us because when it's just us, we really don't watch DVDs. A lot of times we'll stream stuff now, but sometimes when the grandkids are here and they want to watch the Lorax for the 147th time or something like that,
Yes.
I'd have to play with it a little bit to get it to work. They don't work with Blu-rays, but regular DVDs they do, and that's one thing that we found out. So he kind of eliminated that, so now you just buy your own Blu-ray player and plug that in, and as you heard him say, he's got every connection, every wire that is compatible with those TVs hooked up already for you. So basically, whatever you choose, it's there for you already.
And you just plug it in and go.
So yeah, and then
I thought it was pretty cool too. Like if you are, one person is out in the living room area and another one's in the bathroom or whatever, or the bedroom, you could be listening to different things.
yeah, that is kind of cool. I don't know if we'll ever do that, but it's cool that we have the option.
Right.
It's cool that we have, or we will have the option if we get a new rig.
Right.
And then in the bedroom, they move those shelves up. I know some people will have mixed feelings about that being up high, but it kind of makes sense because they have the USB plugs and the regular 110 plugs up there with it.
Well, I think that come from a lot of feedback with comments on social media about those little shelves being in the way of trying to make the bed, and they're really not big enough for CPAPs. They're not CPAP friendly.
Right.
So,
And
they're trying to make some changes to make the majority of the people happy.
I would get used to that in a hurry.
Yeah.
That's something that I don't think would be a deal breaker for me at all.
Obviously, well, you're not going to make everyone happy, so.
No, and moving the light switch was another good thing. I think they actually did that in 2021, moving that
I'm
bedroom.
not sure, but yeah.
But it's better in that spot, because if you're like us where you'll pull over for the night somewhere, a lot of times we don't open anything up, especially if we pull over late. We'll just come in, crawl in bed, and if the slide out's in, you have to fish your hand back between.
Yeah.
Not really that big of a deal to me because I've gotten used to it, but for some people it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So they moved the switch. So hopefully you guys learned a lot about why they do things the way they do. I mean, sometimes I see people, I've been in the service business my whole life, and one thing that I know is if you have a happy customer, they may tell 10 people. If you have an unhappy customer, they'll tell 100 people.
Absolutely true.
So sometimes you see that one person complaining about something, and they may be complaining about it because they don't understand that's the way things are supposed to work. And I've said this before, sometimes we break things because we do things wrong. It's not necessarily the manufacturer's fault. And now I get it. Sometimes they'll put a part in and it doesn't work right, but they're happy to replace that for you.
Well, and I think another thing too is that some people get upset that they can't order one specific thing that they want, and I think that Sam did a really good job at explaining why that's not possible.
Well, I will share with you experience we had years ago when he was talking about why they bundle things the way they do. Repetition is their friend in the manufacturing industry.
Yeah.
We actually owned a fifth wheel years ago that it was not a Keystone back then, and there were two different brands that were built in the same plant. And our salesman told us, well, if you don't like that carpet in yours, you can upgrade to the higher trim level fifth wheel that's in there. So we chose to do that. We actually got the opportunity to be in the plant for a plant tour while ours was coming down the line.
That was just coincidental.
And we knew it was our rig. And I said to the guy, that's the wrong carpet in that fifth wheel. And he said, no, that's the carpet that comes with those. And when I told him, I said, no, we ordered the other carpet. And he said, oh, well, we must have missed that. That happens all the time. And that was the reason why Sam said they do things the way they do. So incidents like that don't happen. And so, I mean, it is what it is. They have a lot of good packages, and I hope that you guys enjoyed these tours coming along with us, and I hope you learned as much as we did. Like I said, we've been on tours before.
And I learned a lot.
But things have changed a lot in a couple years.
And things continue to change, and I think that, you got to go with the changes.
Technology changes. Technology is changing.
And hopefully for the better.
Right. And I did say this. I made a comment while we were in the innovation lab. after they were showing us all the new stuff that has come out since we bought our 2020 model. And I made the comment when John, one of the engineers, got done speaking. I said, I feel like buying a Keystone product is like buying a computer. It's obsolete by the time you get it home because they're constantly evolving, and they're constantly, and some of the stuff that we can't talk about yet that's coming, I think you guys are going to be happy with. It's exciting stuff. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please leave comments below and give us a like and subscribe to the channel, because as ambassadors, there's going to be more of this coming. If you want to see that, be sure and subscribe. And
thanks for watching.
Yep.